evening. My name is Charles Overall. Today, I'll be discussing Sir Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill. As shown, he was born November 30th, 1874, and died January 24th, 1965. He would be considered as a charismatic and driven leader. He's also referred to as the Bulldog. But he was also born in this time frame when it was the golden era of British control over the world. There's a saying that as the sun rises and the sun set, English control was there of that country as you were seeing it. Some information about Sir Winston Churchill. He held multiple positions in the British government and was in the House of Commons at the ripe age of 27 years old. The House of Commons, I believe, is the equivalent of being a governor. He fought in India in multiple campaigns at the sole age of 19. He was also famous for being a journalist as well, documenting the famous battles in India. He was deemed charismatic and saw the big picture, not the small one, because he led his country also to victory in World War II. He was considered a very good conversationalist and held his own in a debate. Some background information. He was born into nobility and father was an American horse breeder. The father also set him up for military since he was not the brightest of students. It actually took him 4 tries just to get into the military. But after he lost his commission or gave it up, there's a rumor mill with that, he decided to take on a political role. It took him 2 tries, but the first try, he almost won. 26 years old, and he was already a governor. He was also famed for, as previously stated, being a journalist and a writer. Why was he a good leader? He was a strong figure for the country during the World War II era and on from then. He was charismatic and driven, and when the country needed him to step up, he stepped up. Now you could say he had a little bit of a destructive nature. That could derail him or maybe hinder his leadership a little bit. But he urged the country to continue on, press with the war, and they would win. He held many debates and conversations over the radio to morale and build the country. Again, as previously stated, he held multiple roles in the English government that were stepping stones for him along the way to succeed in a very successful career. What leadership style he used? First thing that comes to mind is he was a democratic leader that wanted as many people to be involved as possible. He wanted everyone to have a say-so and everyone's voice to be heard. He was named the protector of democracy during World War II. He defended it. He didn't let it go. He was seen as a charismatic and transformational leader as well, meaning he transformed the country of England at its darkest times. When they didn't want to be in the war, he transformed them into a powerhouse and drove them through the war with his speeches, his morale, and his love of the country of England. Churchill's style of leadership drove the country, and many didn't want to say what needed to be done. He had to put an action in place. He had to make it happen. He had to do the stuff people didn't want to do. At the end of the day, he had to lead a country through a very dark time. Sir Churchill's leadership qualities, his speeches alone during World War II brought the country together when they needed somebody to speak for them. Speak confidently, speak with charisma, speak with confidence. driven and motivated the country when they needed someone the most. It's been a proven statement, and it's been proven that he's been elected as the most famous Briton ever to live. And courage is something to talk about the most. Most of the country saw him as a warmonger, and he held his ground. He held his ground because he knew it needed to be done. They might not want it to be done. They might not want to be in that war. But that war came to them, and they had to fight that war and win that war. Action is another quality he possessed. He would put stickers on his orders of state and when they needed to be done. He even put stickers on them saying, this needs to be done now, this needs to be done tomorrow, this needs to be done in a week. He would put dates on his papers for orders that needed to be done and how important they were. Accomplishments. He led Britain in World War II as the Prime Minister, which he was then re-elected later from 51 to 55. He was a 1953 Nobel Peace Prize winner, which is an accomplishment of their own. He also founded the first conventional minimum wage system in England. He did that. During that time, he did that. Time of poverty, time of need, he set the boundary and set the standards of a minimum wage for a building company recovering from a war and pressing on. He was also voted, as previously stated, the greatest Briton in history. Now that says a lot, because that's a major accomplishment, because he's deemed the greatest one ever. Ever. And why did I choose the Bulldog? Simply put, I grew up and I heard nothing but good stuff about him. I had heard his speeches at my grandparents' house growing up. And I thought to myself as a kid, I was like, wow, he doesn't hold back. He's gonna really tell you what he wants to say and just lead on. He strikes me as a courageous person and someone I would want to look up to. I honestly hope to be someday. He was never afraid of failing, because he did fail multiple times. He actually, during World War I, led an attack on Turkey, which failed. He got fired and he got told he was never to be involved in any war tactics ever again. He went against a 73-year-old admiral, but he learned from it, and he grew from it, and he evolved from it. These are my references. I will attach this PowerPoint slide to my post so you can go back and look at these references as well. My name is Charles Overall. I'm sorry I'm in my get-up today. This is what I normally wear from 8 to 4. I hope you learned a lot about Sir Winston Churchill, the Bulldog, and I hope this helps you further your knowledge of leadership and kind of what true leadership should be. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this. Have a good weekend.